From AM 1680, The Answer, this is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. And now, here's your host, Lance Cardoza.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Business Leaders Live, as they were saying there, every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock right here on AM 1680, The Answer. And you can catch all past episodes of Business Leaders Live at lancecardoza.com. That's LanceCardoza.com. And you can catch all the past episodes. This is a very interesting show. And why it's interesting to me is we had back probably about a month ago, Cody, if you remember, we had Michael Mahoney he was the Dream Home Makeover, and he's the guy that was really, he was out there. He would do these rooms that were just incredible, and he was working with DeYoung Properties here locally and was doing the Dream Home. He did the Master Suite and did these incredible suite, and we said, how did you get your start, and what did you do? And he had a love for vintage furniture and refurbishing it, making it new, making it unique. And he did it out of being desperate. Remember, I think he said he was living at his mom's house and he was doing yard sales every weekend. Then he was out on his own and trying to figure out what to do. And then it exploded for him. Then all of a sudden he was on a TV show and they loved what he did there. And he was really surprised that there was other passions like his out there. And I met these two ladies in the studio right now, Veronica and Amber, and they're with Reloved Vintage. And they have a very similar way of looking at repurposing furniture from the past and vintage furniture. Welcome to the program. Thank you for being on here, Amber and Veronica.
Thank you. Hello.
So I met you through a good friend of ours, and we got to say hi to Louie. And if anybody has had Italian food in the tower, and I keep telling Cody, you got to go there.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez. Yeah, he was thinking
Louie.
You're saying, oh, geez. No, it's not like that, but it's Crazy Louie. It's a lot of fun.
Louie. But
in Tower, he has the most incredible Italian food. But I'm over the coast, and I'm taking my mom over the coast, and here's Louie at Fat Cats over there, and he's sitting with some of the ladies just talking. They're from Fresno. They have a business back here, and I was interested. So I looked online, your Instagram and your Facebook at the time, and now we've reconnected, and you're on Business Leaders Live.
Wow.
And, a little nervous. It's okay. Everybody is when they first come on the radio. But first, one of you, tell us what Reloved Vintage is. To start our program. And Veronica, maybe first, what is Reloved Vintage?
We are a secondhand furniture store.
Okay.
But we specialize now. We've kind of grown and changed over the years, that's for sure. But we specialize in mid-century modern nowadays. I mean, that may change tomorrow. Who knows? We just kind of go with the flow.
And that just changes with people's taste. What's out there, what people are looking at.
We are similar to, I guess, the other gentleman that was on your show. We didn't know what we were doing, to be exact. We just had a love for beautiful furniture, period. And we did upcycle in the beginning. We don't do that now. We
And what is upcycle?
In the beginning, we used to chalk paint and paint furniture and really change the look of it and the style. But we don't do that so much anymore. Our passion is definitely finding it in its original form.
Okay.
But it's harder and harder because things are, after 50, 60 years, things are rotting. Down. Yes. So now we are well known for, we pick that vintage couch. We choose a sofa, a color, and a fabric. And we try to stay in its original vibe, I guess. But, we give a fresh new look to it. So,
and Amber, it's a lot of, it's putting several things together to make it work. And sometimes you could have a contemporary and an antique flair to it. Could work.
It can be eclectic, but we really try to stick with the mid-century era. So we're 60s, 70s, even 50s. It just
even 80s.
Even 80s.
80s is coming back. I know.
Isn't it when you get through? It's like 50s and 60s. The 70s is sort of rehashing some of those decades, and the 80s was like a hodgepodge of all these different eras, wasn't it? And then something maybe new, their twist on it.
Yes.
And the 90s sort of became its thing too.
Yes.
And
it's our version of recycling.
Yeah.
We just, furniture's not made like it was. It's well-made pieces of furniture, and it's lasted for 50 years.
Yeah.
It can last another 100. If you just take care of it.
Are there certain brands? So if you look at the 50s, 60s, 70s. There's certain brands that stayed through all those years that are real iconic brands that you would say that are still thriving.
There's the Ames chair, classic Ames chair that it's the leather with the wood frame that everyone wants to have one of those.
Yeah. Very expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
But, if you can find a vintage one for a good price, we're always, we've only had a couple in our shop over the past 4 years. So it's a rare thing for us to find around here in Fresno.
But even though they make reproductions of it,
true,
that it can be equally just as well. You know what I mean?
New versions of it that's coming out.
And even vintage reproductions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can't get your hands on the real thing, I mean, there's nice, close options that you could choose from.
So Veronica, Amber, do you both, so there's a TV show, The Pickers, where they go and they're looking for things. Do you do the same thing? Do you go to estate sales and look at?
We do. We don't go to the estate sales as often as we used to. Now that we've got a good customer base, we actually have people that come to us that want to sell to us, which is great.
Yeah.
It makes our job much easier.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't sleep. We would get up at 4 a.m. and go to these places and sit in line and
yard sales.
Yeah, yard
estate
sale.
sales.
It's not fun. I mean, it's fun for a short amount of time. And it is the thrill of the hunt for sure. I was like, oh my gosh, what we found today. But now our job itself, or being business owners, which never imagined we would be, it's a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And it's, you're running the shop and finding it and changing it and moving it. And we do everything.
Storing it.
Storing
and refurbish part of it. Yeah, I'm sure.
Movers.
Yeah. And then where are you going to put all this stuff?
Yes.
Like, yes, we want it, but what are we going to do with it between now and then? Wow. So then how do people right now come to Reloved Vintage? They call you and they say, we have this and we know you guys do that. Or we're trying to refurbish something. They probably call you about that too. Do you have a brick and mortar location, or how does somebody find Reloved Vintage?
We do. We have a storefront, which we've been almost 4 years there. And people find us online. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, our website. But now we've kind of made a name for ourselves. I mean, I know Fresno's bigger than we think it is. And I know there's a whole bunch of people out there that probably don't know who we are. But we do have a following at this point right now that's amazing. We've got great customers that, they keep coming back, which is awesome. So
they like what you do. You have something in common with their tastes and what they're looking for as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Veronica, what is your passion? What made you want to do this? You both had similar passions, it sounds like, but was it something you always wanted to do, Veronica? Like what did?
No, I could never imagine myself where I'm at today. Long story short, I was married very young, and Amber and I met through our daughters through soccer. I mean, typical boring Fresno life.
Soccer moms and got to talking in the lawn chairs and the little wagons.
And we lived in the same neighborhood, and our girls were best friends, or are best friends, and now they're 17 and.
They met in kindergarten and first grade, and now they're a sophomore and junior at high school. So, it's come a long way, and we stayed friends.
So it was a hobby. It was a hobby and a common interest, and that sort of started the.
Yeah, I've always been. I love art in general and home design, and it was a passion. I never really did much with it, but I just got to a point in my life, my kids were getting bigger, and I needed to go back to work. And I was like, I don't know really what I want to do, but as in my 40s, and I was like, I want to do something I really enjoy. So it just kind of went from there, and I dragged Amber along. I was like, I need some help, and you should come with me.
Is that now, Amber, is that how it started? There was a project she was doing something with, and she needed help working on it? She offered some wine.
Of course, that's always a given.
It's a given.
But I was looking at a piece of furniture, and I said, I really like this piece, and I just can't fit it. And Veronica immediately said, we'll make it work. Let's do it. And so we started rearranging my house, and I'm like, God, she has got such a great gift that she has an eye for these things, that she can move things left and right. And I just kind of followed along and watched and learned from her. And, it's been an amazing, amazing journey that we can go into people's homes and make changes. That's what we used to do when we were home staging, but now we're back into this business that we love.
So at one point it was home staging.
It was. We started, I was going to go back to school for it. And then I said, I'm not sure if I'm really ready to do that. And a friend of ours said, just do it. Just start doing it.
Yeah.
And so she found a friend that was a real estate agent. And we said, give me a house that you just can't sell. And it was a older gentleman that had been together for many years. And she had been trying to sell. It was a bunch of different
It wasn't
two households
appealing.
mixing together.
It was a
not
lot.
good.
No one would wanted to give in and let go, and she had just couldn't sell it. It was on the market forever, and we basically went in there for free and did it, and it sold in 4 to 6 days, I think.
And it's what do you find at times the people that come in and see what you had staged, they want to buy the stuff that's there and keep it, or they want to do something similar to that?
Yeah, they would please come into my house and make my house, change mine with what I own. And that's what we used to do is like we used what you have in your home.
Yeah.
And then we would move it around and just make it more appealing, more open, change it.
Make sense of it.
Yes, for sure.
Very exciting. And I like that you had a friend of you that said, just do it. If you have a passion about something, and that's what I hope with Business Leaders Live, that maybe it's that little girl sitting there listening to the show, or it's somebody that's been a correctional officer for many years, and now what are they going to do with their life, but they have a passion with something. Jump out there, do it, invite a friend along the way that you respect and have the same thing in common. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders Live.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back to Business Leaders Live. This week in the studio, we just started the top of our show. We're talking about repurposing vintage furniture in a certain era, and I can't remember, contemporary. What was it again, Amber?
Mid-century.
Mid-century.
1960s.
And we're gonna have to talk about mid-century. Explain that a little bit, because someone out there is going, "What is mid-century?"
Mad Men.
Mad Men. There you go. That's a perfect example. Amber and Veronica, and you're with Reloved Vintage. And again, if someone's just joining us in the show, where can they find your store where they can see some of your stuff?
We are at 2569 West Shaw in Fresno. We're between Marks and Van Ness. We're just off the frontage road on the south side of Shaw.
Okay, perfect. And when someone comes into your store, the brick and mortar store, what we talked about before we went to break, you were talking about going into someone's home and repurposing, positioning what, not repurposing, but repositioning what they have and making it work. And when you first met, Veronica had come over and was shifting things around. You thought, wow, she's talented. And vice versa. You probably both have strengths. Talk to me about that as when you were just helping each other out and friends in this and realizing, hey, we have a gift, and you were staging homes. What are those strengths between the two of you? Because there's a yin and there's a yang to everything. What are those strengths?
Well, to be honest, I don't think we really looked at it as strengths or what we're really good at. I was in my 40s, and I was like, I need to work.
Yeah.
I need to go back to work and do something I love. And that's where it came. And I was just, and she kept saying, not everybody sees things like you see it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, it's easy. You just need to move that there and this there. And it really took me a while to realize that, okay, she's right. You know what I mean? I'm seeing it, but not every
It's more
average.
of a gift and something
Yeah,
that
I'm not
you
saying
are
I'm
passionate.
gifted by any means.
Well, you are. You're truly, yeah. I mean, it sounds like it.
Well,
I took it for advantage. You know, that's where it comes down to be honest.
Was there somebody in your life that was really good at that as well? As a grandmother or somebody that was just...
No.
No.
I love you, Grandma, but no.
No, it wasn't Grandma. So was there somebody that was sort of opened your
I
eyes?
have some creative relatives, an uncle that was kind of did what I did, but
Okay.
I didn't realize it at the time. You know what I mean?
It was just common.
It was just common. I just did it. You know what I mean? I love decorating on a budget, which is very challenging. You know what I mean? It's boring if you can walk into a store and go, I want this, this, and this.
And get everything you want.
That's so easy. To me, it's more about like, oh, can you make... And that's where it started. Amber wanted this piece of furniture, and she loved it, and I was like, well, then buy it. Buy it, and we'll move your stuff around and make it fit. It's easy.
Yeah, and we'll make it work. And Amber, what do you feel? You had a passion as well. Is there a strength or something that you brought to the table?
I don't know. Just following along with her. I mean, it was fun to see the transformation, which, got me inspired. And I thought this is a great thing to see the transformation just from one room one day, the next day you're in love with it. So it was exciting. So I just followed along with her because she really has a gift, even though she doesn't think she does.
So Veronica has a gift. Amber, were you the one that said, hey, we can make this a business? We really... Was it both of you?
The funny thing is, I think we were drinking wine and we had and having a conversation and saying, hey, let's let's go for it. Let's do home staging. And so we did that for a couple of years. And we basically didn't really spend the money we were making. We would just kind of pocket it and put it away.
Yeah.
And then we were getting busier and we needed furniture. And so Fresno, there's not a lot of options. So we hit every furniture store locally, and nobody wanted to touch us. Nobody. I was like, no, we'll put your furniture in the house. It'll have your name on it. People, new homeowners will come and they'll see it and they'll love it and they'll want to buy it because it looks good,
Yeah.
And it just kind of went from there. And then we got rejected left and right. And so I said, well, let's start thrifting.
Yeah.
And I'll upcycle and start making it look more today. And we kind of started with more wood furniture so we could upcycle and paint and change. But
and
then
that's where you were saying you were doing the chalking and refinishing, that type of stuff.
It was inexpensive to buy the pieces so we could fix them up and have them ready. But then the people in the homes, when they would go they're homes that were staged, they're like, where can I get these pieces of furniture?
Yeah.
So
the light bulb was going off.
The light bulb was going off a little bit, yes. And so at the time we just started collecting and storing, really.
Yeah.
And, well, Amber's...
My mom's 3-car garage turned into a storage of furniture. Complete furniture. Yeah. It was crazy, even inside the house. My mom was a good woman.
So at that point, you realized we probably need to get into a show place and start to show some of our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we started going to every thrift store locally. And I'm like, they're dirty, filthy, overpriced. And they weren't showing the potential of the beautiful piece of furniture that's there. Like, it was like, it'd be cobwebs and dust and dirt.
A piece of tape with a Sharpie on it and it's sticking in a corner.
Terrible. And I'm like, and then we would come and we'd pick it up and we'd clean it up and put it into today's colors, and it shined. And I'm like, no one knows how beautiful grandma's chair is until you take it out of its old environment.
Yeah.
And that's
give it new life.
Yep.
Yeah. And so when you're saying upscaling, what was it again? Upscaling?
Cycling.
Upcycling, that's taking a piece of furniture and bringing it to a modern state.
Yeah, changing it, maybe.
Or maybe making a company another piece. Okay.
Yes.
And make that work. And that's something you're very talented at, is what Amber says.
Yes.
Yes.
And I learned how to do the chalk painting too.
Sure.
We did a good job with that, but it was a lot of work, and we're always working anyway, being business owners. So that's when we realized people were liking the mid-century furniture.
We always had a mix. Our vibe was, listen, we're not experts. We're two moms who have an eye for beautiful furniture, period. That's it. I don't care what era it came from, but we could walk in and, she doesn't give herself credit. She can walk in a place and pick up as small as a vase to a chair to whatever.
Can accompany the whole arrangement of what you're doing.
And pull it out of, its ugly environment. And so, it was a learning. It's a learning. We learn every day. And every day is a learning experience, for sure.
So mid-century, talk to me about that, Amber, the 50s, the 60s, 70s, right in there. Mm-hmm. And like we were saying, the 50s are or the 60s rehashed a little of the 50s, and the 70s a little bit of the 50s and 60s mix, but they have their own brand. What is the mid-century? Yeah.
It's more streamlined, straight edges. It's not as ornate as some of the pieces that you would see.
Sort of arrow streamist type?
Yes, I guess. I don't.
Very straight lines.
Yeah.
Just simple. Just well-made, simple furniture.
Okay. And then, so when both of you now are doing business and getting in there, you probably had some backgrounds in business, or you didn't. and I think you met as soccer moms. We were talking about that. And when we go to break, when we come back, we'll get into a little bit about that. What did you do in the past?
It's not that interesting.
It's not that interesting. It's more fun.
My kids would say differently.
Re-love vintage is more exciting. And it should be. You guys are both passionate about it. And I'm sure someone listening to Business Leaders Live right now, too, is excited and passionate about it. And they want to come see Re-love Vintage. And one more time, if you can give the location where someone can come see you, your hours.
2569 West Shaw, Fresno, between Marks and Van Ness, just off of Shaw. On the south side of Shaw, off of Shaw Lane. We're 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday.
And they can come down and take a look, talk to Amber, Veronica. And also you can find them at Facebook at Re-Loved Vintage as the backslash, so facebook.com/Re-Loved Vintage. And you can also get them on Instagram at Re_Loved Loved Vintage as well.
Correct.
And you can look at some of your beautiful stuff from the mid-century.
We do have some beautiful pictures online.
All there on the Facebook and also on the Instagram. When we come back, we'll find out a little bit about your backgrounds before you met as soccer moms and created this great business idea. We'll be right back with Business Leaders Live.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
It's a pretty fun show, and what excites me about this week's Business Leaders Live is it's a passion. Two people had a passion. They had met as soccer moms, and the kids brought them together. They started talking. They had something in common, and they started Read Love Vintage. They both had a passion for something, and Amber had Veronica, I think, come over and rearrange some furniture to make a piece of furniture fit, and it was pretty exciting to see what she was doing, right, Amber? It was
Correct,
like she had a gift for what she was really good at.
Definitely, and she had a passion to transform things, and she didn't realize how good she was doing. So
yeah, and at the same time, Veronica, you got a lot of encouragement from Amber of we could do more with this, or excitement, and someone that was liking the same thing that you were passionate about as well. Was that a motivation for you?
No, definitely. I just feel like none of this was planned, to be honest. It just kind of
started happening.
It literally just started happening from one roll to the next. I mean, we never sat down and said, oh, let's open a store, or let's do this. Yeah. Those conversations never really happened. As far as I remember. Yeah.
So from being soccer moms and you started talking about it and then hanging out and doing that, do some of your biggest business decisions are over a glass of wine? I'm sure.
Of course. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
We live in Fresno.
So you're having a nice glass of wine and you're just talking about, wouldn't this be cool? Why don't we do this? Or this is exciting.
Yeah, and I don't even think when we actually opened the store, we had we didn't really have a plan. We just looked at each other like, I guess we just open the doors today and see what happens.
Just go. Yeah.
We are in a strange location for Fresno. I mean, Fresno, a lot of our probably number one complaint is like, you're such a weird location. But
it's like hard to find you, or
it's just you don't expect us to be where we're at, you know.
But once people find us,
we have. I mean, our customer, we have people that come every other day. I mean, we have regulars from out of
once
town.
Once they found you, then they're coming back all the time.
They appreciate it. They want to be there, which is, I mean, I can't even express the feeling. I mean, it's amazing. Our customers are wonderful. You couldn't ask for
awesome.
More passionate people.
They're passionate,
for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep finding those other people.
Yeah.
So as that passion you both shared as soccer moms, but what were your backgrounds? Like Amber, what was your background before getting to that spot?
I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. It was basically my kids.
Yeah, which is a big job.
It is a big job. And
yes.
I had 3 kids at 3 different schools, and now they're bigger and grown, and they can fend for themselves a little better than they used to.
So you're able to a little more time for mom to do what she needs to do.
Yeah. So this job opportunity came on at the right time, and we both kind of said, we both need jobs right now, so let's do something. So
yeah. Beautiful. Veronica, your background too?
Very similar.
Similar. Okay.
I think Amber and I both started college. We dropped out of college to support spouses and let them shine and sat back. I don't recommend that for women out there. Yeah. Finish school.
Yeah.
But
so you're both very similar stories.
Very
so you had a lot
stories.
in common.
And stayed home for many, many years, and it was just time. It was time to do something that I was passionate about. Yeah, and I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And it's.
And you probably thought, I need to find a job. I need to get out there and find something. What am I going to be comfortable
at my
doing?
Age,
what do
I don't want to brew coffee. I love Starbucks, but I don't want to, it's a great job for my son.
Yeah, barista. But you had a passion.
I did have a passion. Yeah. I didn't know what to do with it. Like I said, it just kind of fell into, it just kept falling into place. One after another. It was very, very strange. It went from storing our furniture to really doing a store.
Yeah.
Well, we're like, why not? Every thrift store we went to was awful. And I'm like, we could do an upcycled, a higher end thrift store. We hand select every single piece of anything that comes into the store. It could be a vase, it could be a plate, it could be a piece of art, but nothing gets,
And you have passion enough probably to have a backstory for that piece of furniture.
Yeah, that's half the fun. I mean, the story of it, that, you know,
like
the
where
people
has that
we
piece
meet.
been?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's my passion. That's my fun part.
That's the best part. Going to an estate sale and learning about the owners of the house.
Or meeting them. Sometimes they share the stories, and they're like, "This tear is from this, you know, and
I have
this stain."
It's funny you say that, because I was talking about Michael about it too when he was here. Doing those estate sales, it's like an emotional experience for me.
I mean, I used to cry every time I'd leave.
You did too. I would see things in the place that would remind me of my grandparents, or a time and period in your life that you go back to for that moment.
For sure.
Like my grandpa had that, you know, and I remember I couldn't touch that.
Yes.
You know, and I'm touching it right now. I'm touching it. And then I feel bad because it belongs to this man that is no longer with us in the estate sale, and you want to give it life again.
You do.
And you want to keep it.
I mean, it's mixed emotions for sure. I mean, we get to the point that you walk in and you realize this is someone's life. I mean, their whole life from, you know, years and years, and good or bad, it might not be your taste, but it is someone's life. And I take that very seriously.
Yeah. And then a lot of unique utensils and just things, everything about
I mean, their toothpicks
home.
Are shoved in a drawer. I mean, it really is. It comes down to, you know, it's crazy.
So it's funny to hear that, because I always wondered, because when I'd go with my wife at times, and I'm like, I almost feel, I didn't feel right. Like I'm in their home.
No,
this is their belongings. They've been there for years, and there's their passion.
But then there's something about taking something out of their home that, you know, this person has passed, and you're taking something, and then you see the new buyer, and they're so passionate and so thankful that you have picked this item, and they're taking it home, and they love it, you know.
And they're putting it to work.
And it's given new life.
Given new life,
You know, and they're so excited about it.
And so backstory, so it's exciting to hear that that's what's nice about, you're just not a thrift store. You've gone in with a unique period of furniture in home style and created a backstory for someone to take that piece into their home and carry that story on into the centuries of their family and stuff of what that piece could do.
And the way the store is set up, it's set up like it's a living room or a room in your home, so you can visualize what these pieces might look like in your space, which makes it easier for the people to kind of get an idea, you know, when they come into the store. So it gives them an idea of what their house could look like.
Like, how would this fit in what I'm thinking about doing? Sort of like what Veronica did for you, Amber, when you wanted to buy that piece of furniture.
Yes.
And you weren't sure what you were going to do with it. With your staging background and your passion for this mid-century, you've created that in your showroom. And they can find the showroom one more time. Where can they find that?
2569 West Shaw in Fresno, between Marks and Van Ness. We're just off of Shaw Lane on the south side of Shaw.
Perfect. When we come back, we're going to talk about some new things that they're doing with Reloved Vintage. I have Amber and Veronica here on Business Leaders Live. Each week, you can catch Business Leaders Live every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. live right here on AM 1680 The Answer. We'll be right back.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody. Business Leaders every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and in studio, Veronica and Amber with Reloved Vintage. And we've been talking about two people that came together with a passion, started a business. They had no plan to start a business. They were just passionate about the same thing and passionate about just being friends to start with. And I tell people all the time, too, don't be afraid to take a passion and go into business, and don't go alone. If you feel like, hey, this person has strengths in this area, or they're just a person that can be a part of the team that I can go have a glass of wine with, take that little napkin and write some ideas down and get inspired by it. And
we did do that.
You did that, yeah. Some of the best business deals are done on a little bar napkin, but to be able to just bounce ideas off each other and say, that's crazy, or let's do it, and be able to do that. And when one's down, the other one picks the other one up. And sometimes you don't feel like you're going alone. And a lot of business people tend to get in that spot, and then 90-some% of businesses fail in the first year because of that. And they feel like they're on an island of their own. And they got into business because they didn't want to answer questions to anybody. And they found out you actually answer questions to everybody, from the city, the county, the IRS, the PG&E, the everything that comes to it. You answer the questions to everybody and your customers.
Amber's really good at that.
Yeah,
really good.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
So bookkeeping, that type of stuff, that's Amber's strength. There it is.
Technology,
that's
me.
Sure.
That's you.
I have no
I can tell when we talked about the Facebook and the Instagram. You get hives.
Yeah, she does.
I do get hives.
You get hives with it. So let's talk about. You got a new website.
New website. It's re-lovedvintage.com.
It's actually being worked on.
It's worked on.
It may be down at the moment. So if you look us up,
So the best way to find out more details about the same, if someone has that passion for that mid-century furniture, and they can find it at
on our Facebook page is re-loved vintage, or on Instagram re_loved vintage, which Instagram seems to be the easiest way to see our stuff. So,
I mean, that's how we survive. I mean, when we first opened, every other store owner that has been in business, typical antique stores, I guess, would like question our location and question, how are you going to get your name out there? And we're like, social media is free.
It's free.
And they didn't understand
it. Our 13-year-olds were set up our account for us on Instagram.
We
had a lot of 13-year-old followers.
We didn't have an Instagram. It was a learning experience. We had to learn that.
There's so many businesses that the kids have set up the social media because the parents have no idea where to go.
Can you show your mom and dad our page, please?
Yeah. How does it work? Where did I find that comment? It popped up, and I don't know where to go find it. And then you navigate through it.
Yes.
And there's so many options for social media these days, but businesses, if you're not doing social media, you need to do it. You need to be able to. And it's almost like when we used to have the old maps, the book maps before GPS. Yeah. If your road isn't, that's how I explain advertising, which social media today is advertising. If someone goes searching for you or looking for you, and all of a sudden the road is not on the map, they're not going to find you. So you always have to be out there. And social media does that for businesses. You're always out there. Such as like the yellow pages and so forth. Social media has become that in a big way. So you have to identify yourself out there and get that started. So you're doing that, Amber. That's one of your passions. So a new website will be coming out soon. And is there anything? So you go staging homes, and then you're in this mid-century furniture. You open up a brick and mortar place. You're doing that. People can come in and actually see staged portions of what a home would look like with this furniture.
Yeah, I mean, we don't do that on purpose, but it's just what feels right. I mean, we take it and we, make a little vignette, how the chair and the vase and the table, and, show people this is how it should be used, or this is what you could use it for.
Yeah.
Just giving them a new vibe on anything old, really.
Yeah. Now, is there a piece of furniture, and each of you, I'll ask you this question, is there some type of piece of furniture or something that is your go-to, something that you love yourself and you like to always go to that? That's something.
I'm a chair.
Yeah, she
is. You love chairs.
I love chairs. Yeah.
I heard you talking about the chair with the wood frame, and
yeah, and I'm a sucker for teak. So anything.
Oh, teak.
Anything teak wood. We have
it's
different
beautiful.
Tastes. We do have different tastes,
which is good. It's a good balance.
And I see with teak a lot in bathrooms that are using teak. That they'll use in the bathroom, a clean look. Bamboo also, I noticed bamboo.
Yes.
And now is bamboo teak? Is that all through that mid-century or
bamboo? Pretty. We do have a really beautiful buffet right now. But no, it's teak is probably more Danish inspired, and that comes around. Like I said, it was not that we did mid-century on purpose. We were just hand selecting beautiful pieces of furniture, and they just happened to be from that era.
Yeah.
They would do not just a table; it would be a piece of art, but you would be able to use it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I found. It's not like I'm really attracted to that modern piece, because I'm not always.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the beauty of it, but Fresno, there's a ton of it here.
Yeah.
And it's very close to our store. There's a lot of areas that are mid-century modern homes. And so we just find it left and right.
Yeah.
And
do
so
you find like Old Fig area has a lot of the mid-century modern
sure,
homes?
Yeah.
A lot of your clients in Old Fig
for sure.
area? Yeah. I'd love to go tour some of the homes, because I'm sure they're beautiful. You guys
amazing.
have seen them. Yeah.
But it's everywhere. I mean, we'll find the most random area that, we have to go through a lot of homes. I mean, sometimes there's home after home after home.
There's a lot of junk to go through before you find that little
gem.
Bright light.
And sometimes less is more. Sometimes people have too much of,
sure. People do not throw away anything.
Yes. And it takes away from the beauty of the piece, I'm sure, or something from
it. Less is more, people.
Less is more. So George Carlin, the comedian. You ever hear of George Carlin? I'm sure you have. but I remember he would talk about people's stuff. And you'd be in the plane, and he said, that's all a house is. You look down, that's your stuff. It's a house full of stuff.
Yes.
You got stuff in the garage, stuff in the drawer. There's stuff. That's all it is, stuff. And when you went to heaven, all that stuff you lost, you got that stuff back. All those left socks, that ballpoint pen, thousands of them. That's what it's all about. So it was funny when he talked about people's stuff, because it is too much stuff. Less is more.
For sure.
So anything that you would suggest if someone's listening to the show and they've been, I love this Reed Loved Vintage and I want to come down and see what they're all about, meet Amber and Veronica. What do you suggest? The best way to do that? Make an appointment, come in, or how does that work?
Our hours Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 6, or we also are by appointment. It's, the best way to see it, you can see everything on we pretty much picture most of the pieces that come through the store.
The customers are pleasantly surprised as looking online and then coming in. They're surprised on how big the store is compared to what's online.
Yeah.
So there's
a lot to see.
Knock on wood. We've had nothing but positive.
By going to Facebook and the Instagram,
Yes.
they'll be able to see all the pieces that are there. You're always uploading the new stuff.
Yeah, everything's connected.
It's all on there. When we come back here at Business Leaders Live, I like to do this with our different business leaders each week, and you guys are getting nervous, like, what's going on? Are we breaking out the wine? No. What is it that you're passionate about or someone doesn't know about Veronica and Amber? Something you want to share. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe it's something that someone else might have in common when they see you and they can strike up a conversation. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody. We're wrapping up a great show of Business Leaders Live, and you can catch all the past episodes of Business Leaders Live by going to lancecardoza.com. During the program, I'm looking over here, and our producer, Cody, was looking at Reed Loved Vintage on their Facebook and taking a look at some of their images, and I encourage you to do that. If you listen to the show and you're excited about what Amber and Veronica were talking about, Reed Loved Vintage, you can go to their Facebook at Re-Loved Vintage, or you can go to their Instagram at Re_Loved Vintage and see all the beautiful stuff from the mid-century that they do have. And they just were moms that met and started a business out of passion, and it's so cool to see those stories. Before we went to the break, Amber, Veronica, we were talking about just something that someone might not know about you. That might be something they could strike a conversation from you. Who wants to go first? I can tell you're both looking at each other.
Go, Veronica.
Crickets.
I don't know. I'm pretty much an open book.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't really hold back very much, but I do love to cook. I mean, if this was going to fall through, my next passion would be, probably a restaurant.
We just had that discussion before we came here.
You'd like to be a cook.
Oh, yeah, I would. I would love it.
Very cool.
I'm a best food critic here locally in Fresno.
Awesome.
So if you're unsure of your restaurant, invite me.
That's how you met Louie. You probably were complaining, telling Louie off.
That's right.
Exactly. Louie from OG's. Awesome. And Amber, what anything?
I love what we do so much, and I'm so fortunate that we get along so well. I'm passionate about my kids and my job. Yeah. And the food, we were just talking about that. That's could be our next adventure.
That is our next adventure.
I'm a baker, so.
Oh.
She likes to bake. It's a good combination. I hate to bake.
Because usually people that like to cook do not like to bake.
Oh, it's awful.
My daughter, she's 18 years old, great baker, and she doesn't eat her stuff though.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
that's
but it's
how
incredible.
I am too.
My sister, she makes these beautiful cakes. She eats them. she does eat them. Yes, Taja, you eat them.
That's terrible.
But her stuff is incredible. She loves the cakes, and I do too. They're all great, but it's funny how that is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So both of you cooking, and maybe it's a restaurant.
Maybe that's next. Never
maybe
say
there's
never.
A restaurant.
I've learned that.
Loved Vintage, maybe is the name. There could be something great. Thank you for staying with us right here on Business Leaders Live. I'm Lance Cardoza, and we'll talk to you next week on Tuesday morning. Amber, thank you. Veronica, thank you for being on here.
Thank you.